Thank you.
Okay. Are you ready? Good evening, everyone. I'll begin today's meeting by asking Vice President Wayne Walker to make a general announcement for our guests.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, afternoon, and a very happy summer to all of our teachers, students, and community. We know it is well deserved by all. This is also a week before Independence Day, and what better way to independence than with a quality education? At every board of education meeting, a representative from the Deaf Hearing Communication Center is here to provide sign language interpretation of the proceedings. We always express our gratitude for your hard work. Representatives from the Office of Family and Community Engagement are stationed in the lobby to help with interpretation services. The proceedings of this meeting are being streamed live on the internet at www.phila.org/live and can be seen on PSTV's Comcast Channel 52 and Verizon Vios Channel 20. The proceedings are also recorded by the School District of Philadelphia. The school district's recordings are protected by the copyright laws of the United States and may not be used in any manner without the express written consent of the school board. By participating in tonight's meetings, members of the public acknowledge that the school district may use its recordings for any purpose without obtaining permission or paying any compensation. Thank you very much for your attention and for coming out this evening.
Thank you, Vice President Walker. Before we get started this evening, I wanted to bring to the public's attention that there's been a revision to Action Item 1, adoption of board policies. We want to withdraw Board Policy 007, Code of Ethics, from the action item. Recently, the board received additional recommendations to be added into the proposed board policy. We'll withdraw the policy from tonight's agenda to allow board members time to review this new language. The revised policy will be added to the August action meeting agenda. Additionally, I have withdrawn action item number 40 from tonight's agenda. This is a declaration of unused and unnecessary land and buildings, sale of 4030 Brown Street, Belmont Elementary, to Belmont Futures. Today we learned that the state is considering House Bill 1615, which would codify designation that would change Belmont Charter School oversight with respect to both the district and the state. For this reason, I've withdrawn the sale of Belmont facility until we understand the outcome of this legislation. All speakers who've registered to speak on this item will now be called to speak with speakers on general topics since it's no longer an action item for this evening. Instead of our normal student performance this evening, we've asked to hear from our student board representatives, Julia Frank and Alfredo Practico, on their experience this year. Alfredo and Julia are the board's first student reps to serve as members of the board for over 17 years. This year, they took on the challenge of these positions head on, and we've had a lot to learn from them and what they've accomplished. This afternoon, just before coming here, Alfredo and Julia made a public presentation on their full experience and work. I'd like to ask that they provide a short summary for our audience here. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Julia and Alfredo.
Thank you, President Wilkerson. So I first wanted to thank everyone who came to our presentation where we talked about the work we did this year. We appreciate all your support, and we're so glad that we were able to present the student feedback we received this year.
So we created a report that details our work. This is the report. The student feedback we received and policy recommendations. It will be posted online on the board's website, and we encourage everyone to read our year in review.
So when we started this year, we did not know how we would define our role, and we did not know what we could do to improve our schools. It is now June, and our term as student representatives is quickly coming to a close. In a few short weeks, we will begin our lives as college students, and our position on the district's governing body will be handed off to the next generation of student leaders.
To those future leaders, we want to say that this experience has filled us with hope. There are incredible things happening in the school district of Philadelphia, and we want all of our peers to know that they have the power to make the change they want to see. It is our moment now as students to seize the opportunity, share our views, and make a difference.
We would like to thank you all sincerely for the opportunity to be here. Thank you to the board and Dr. Height for welcoming us, for listening to us, for all your support, and for your commitment to the students of the city of Philadelphia. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve, and we cannot wait to see the progress to come. So thank you.
And if I could just say quickly, our board report will be posted online shortly. I've been assured before next weekend. So if you would all just go online, take a look. We've talked about what we've done this year, school visits we've had, as well as we've made some actual recommendations for the Board of Education and for the school district to take a look at. Those include board policies that we've actually written and drafted, as well as guidelines on high school graduation, and as well as acknowledgments on everyone that has helped us bring us to this point, and suggestions for those that come after us, whether they are in this position or just student leaders within the district. So we'd appreciate it if you all could take a look at that position, and it's truly been an honor.
Thank you. Are there any questions from board members for either Julia or Alfredo? Mr. McGinley?
I don't have any questions, but I want to add my thanks and appreciation for everything you did this year as members of the board. Your opinions were always well developed and supported by good information, and we appreciate the insights that you offered at our committee meetings and here as well. So thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Are we playing the video? Are we playing the video? Are there any other board member comments for Julia? Ms. Danzy?
I would endorse Dr. McGinley's statement, but I'd like to ask you, if you had to do this again, would you? Very good. You are a glutton for punishment.
Other questions? I just want to endorse their remarks. It's been a wonderful experience working with you and the insights you brought here. They go out to schools all the time. They came back with feedback on everything from metal detectors to issues of inequity within the schools, and so it's been a really valuable voice, and a voice hearing it from their perspective makes it much different. And so I want to thank you for the huge time commitment and riding back and forth, sitting here with us, attending committee meetings, which is something that we really hadn't anticipated. And so thank you so much for your work, and we look forward to having you drop in on us during your student summer vacations. It's now time for our regular business. Ms. Raug, please make an announcement about the board's executive sessions and then call the roll.
Thank you, Madam President. The Board of Education met in executive session prior to the meeting this afternoon to discuss personnel and employment matters, labor relations issues, purchase or lease of real property, information and strategy in connection with the following litigation matters: Tozy versus School District of Philadelphia, Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas, number 17110572, which is a personal injury action. Duffield House versus City of Philadelphia et al., Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas, number 170901536, involving a challenge to property tax assessments. And the matters of Vladimirsky versus School District of Philadelphia and Jones versus School District of Philadelphia, both in Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court, docket numbers 722 CD 2018 and 732 CD 2018, involving challenges to employee terminations. Also discussed in executive session were quasi-judicial proceedings and privileged and confidential matters. Now I'll call the roll. Ms. Danzy,
Present.
Ms. Ahaya Hinton, and Ms. Fix Lopez are absent today. Mr. Huang,
Present.
Dr. McColgan,
Present.
Dr. McGinley,
Present.
Dr. McIver,
Present.
Vice President Walker,
Present.
President Wilkerson,
Present.
Superintendent Height,
Present.
and for the last time, Julia Frank and Alfredo Pratico.
Present.
And present.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
I know. It's now time to consider our minutes. Board members, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 30th action meeting and the June 13th special action meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions? Please call the vote. Or we can take a voice vote on that. All in favor, say yes.
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 Thank you. The action meeting minutes are approved. Dr. Height, it's now time for your comments.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. Good evening. As you know, we're in an annual period of transition here at the school district. While we just wrapped up a successful school year, we're already getting ready to welcome students of all ages back to the classrooms this fall. This is a time where I'd like to pause and reflect on the great potential and opportunity that we witness every day in this district. I'll begin with graduations that recently ended. I attended several graduation ceremonies recently throughout the district, including Girls High, West Philadelphia, and One Bright Ray's adult diploma program that is housed now at Strawberry Mansion. And at each ceremony, it was apparent just how hard these students have worked and the boundless possibilities that lie ahead for them in college and career because of the commitment and determination they've demonstrated during their time with us. We've witnessed the way they've used their voices to stand up for the causes they believe in. We've seen them engage in project-based learning and solve problems using critical thinking. And we've watched them overcome challenges to grow into confident, well-rounded adults who will be the next set of leaders in our city. As our graduating seniors, including Julia and Alfredo, leave us to embark on new adventures, we hope that they will harness all the potential that they have to do good in this world. Congratulations to the entire class of 2019 and their families on this exciting accomplishment, and I wish you all the best of luck. As I mentioned earlier, during this time of transition, we also are preparing for the next school year. Earlier this month, the district hosted its summer institutes at several of our larger high schools. These annual week-long boot camps provide teachers, administrators, counselors, and all of the support staff the opportunity to hear from experts and participate in guided sessions, many of them led by fellow educators, about how we can better support our students. This year, more than 2,000 teachers, counselors, and staff members who attended the Institutes of Literacy, Math, Behavior, and for the first time ever, a high school institute, had the opportunity to visit both the high school and the literacy and math institutes, and it was great to see how excited our educators were about sharing ideas. I think they were more excited about being out of school for the school year, but also excited about sharing ideas. I know we're all excited about the progress our students will be able to make because of the work that's been put in over the summer. I'd like to thank our teachers, our staff members, our guidance counselors, support staff, our administrators, for taking the time out of their hard-earned summer vacation to participate in these institutes. And I would especially like to thank the offices and individuals who made the institutes possible, including Dr. Malika Savoy Brooks, Karen Lynch, Dr. Chris Schaefer, Dr. Kalia Lee, Diane Casalbano, Jody Greenblatt, and Rachel Hosman. I know you and your teams work tirelessly, and we appreciate your efforts to make the Institute a success. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't spend a little time recognizing our student board representatives, Julia Frank and Alfredo Pratico. This is the last meeting with us in this capacity, but we hope they won't be strangers to us here in the district. Julia and Alfredo, I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for the service that you provided, not just to us as a governing body, but to all of the students that you have represented. You two were selected for this role for a reason. You have gone above and beyond to engage with your peers so you can advocate for what's best and what's in the best interest of the students of Philadelphia. We have appreciated your guidance, your feedback, your enthusiasm, and you handle this important responsibility with dignity, maturity, and grace. I know you are both leaving us this fall. Julia's off to the other side of the state at the University of Pittsburgh, while Alfredo is staying a little closer to home at the University of Pennsylvania. We wish you both the very best of luck in the future and know you're going to represent the school district well. Please know that you were part of an integral time here in the school district's history, and we are grateful to have worked alongside of you. So to everyone here, can you help me thank and show our appreciation to Julia and Alfredo? And Madam President, before I conclude, there were just two other things that I think are of import. One is there was a gigantic decision by the Supreme Court today that rejected the inclusion of an additional question on the 2020 census. And as the individual representing the mayor's task force to ensure that everyone is counted, and I'm representing the educational committee on that task force, it's extremely important that as we go into that census, we do everything that we can as a city to ensure that we get everyone counted. The city could stand to lose about $3.5 billion in federal dollars if, in fact, we don't count as many individuals as we possibly can. And we also know we have to all do our part to ensure that the largest population who go uncounted, children 0 to 4, are all counted. And so you'll hear more information about the census as we move into the 2020 season. The other issue is around voter registration, and I know we have a speaker on that this evening. And the speaker sent a letter, and we are going to respond to the letter, but I just wanted to make 3 points. The first point is, with respect to our curriculum, we are developing a voter education resource packet that will cover a wide range of topics. This was done in conjunction with the Committee of 70 and Rock the Vote, and it's going to be available to all 11th and 12th grade social studies teachers by September 2019. We're also going to be holding a professional development day led by the Committee of 70 and Philly Youth Vote on August 27th for social science, AP government, and all U.S. history teachers. In addition to that, we've also partnered with a wide range of community organizations who are actively working to promote and hold voter education registration events in several Philadelphia high schools. We will be working and have been working and will continue to work and expand the work with the City Commissioner's Office to ensure that we have the sufficient paper registration forms and electronic voter registration instructions and make those available in all schools. And so our goal is to ensure that 85% of our students who are eligible are registered. And so we're working against that goal that we've all agreed to with our partners. And so I wanted to also add that as just an update in terms of the work that's occurring around voter registration. That concludes my remarks, too.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? I just wanted to make a quick comment. I had the occasion to talk with Commissioner Deely, and she was indicating all the work that's being done in conjunction with the district. We hear all the time about there not being enough judges of election or election workers, and I know that they piloted a program with high school students, having them work filling some of those slots. So, I was talking with Angela McIver, Dr. McIver, and she was talking about how excited she was that this really represents a a huge initiative that has so much potential to get our kids involved, and my understanding is that, they're paid. and so we're looking to get more and more students engaged in that, because it's going to have a huge impact. And so I know the student achievement is going to be following that closely, and so we're all excited about that. We know how important those decisions that get made on Election Day are. And with that, I want to thank you for your remarks. We have no presentations this evening, so we'll move along to committee reports. The committee co-chair, please provide a brief report on relevant items. We'll start with Mr. Practico, if you have anything else to add. Thank you. Our next will be a report from Mr. Wong about Finance and Facilities Committee work.
Thank you, Madam President. We had a long and very full committee meeting, so bear with me. I have a lot of updates. I'll try to be brief. We began this month's meeting with a presentation by President John Fry from Drexel University regarding action item 41 on tonight's agenda. President Fry provided an update on the work Drexel University has been doing to plan for a new facility for Science Leadership Academy Middle School, or SLAMS, and Powell Elementary School. The committee engaged in discussion with President Fry and his teams on the plans outlined in action item 41, and this action item is an agreement to enter into a lease with Drexel University for a new building which will co-locate SLAMS and Powell beginning July 1, 2020. Following this report, we received reports from district staff. Ori Monson, Chief Financial Officer, shared information on the 2019-2020 Tax Revenue Anticipation Notes, also known as the TRAN. I want to go through this in a little bit of detail since this will be an upcoming, I guess, our next board meeting, special meeting in July. The TRAN allows the district to borrow funds to regulate cash flow during the year. Revenues are received unevenly through the year, while expenditures remain constant, and so this type of borrowing is standard government practice to smooth out cash flow. Funds are borrowed and repaid within the same fiscal year, and the TRAN amount for this upcoming fiscal year is $526.7 million. So the board will consider this item on July 9th. Additionally, Mr. Monson provided information on the investments being made in school facility improvements in the budget for next year. Our second report was made by Danielle Floyd, Chief Operating Officer, who provided an overview of the work completed by the operations team over the course of this school year. This year, the district focused on addressing loose, peeling, and flaking paint presumed to contain lead in its schools. Ms. Floyd also gave a design and construction project update and reported that the Office of Capital Programs completed 52 projects this school year. Ms. Floyd also provided summary information on minority and women-owned business enterprise participation, completion of maintenance work orders, environmental remediation, water quality testing, and personnel updates. And we had some discussion about this summer period that we're in. I can tell you that my children are excited about the extra long summer for recreational purposes. The district is excited for the extra time that it will have for maintenance projects that it will be undertaking during the summer to get the schools ready for the 1920 school year. Full presentations of all this material are available on our website. We were also made aware of and had discussion on several action items that are coming before the board today. I'll conclude by saying that over the course of this past year, our committee held 10 monthly meetings where we discussed topics related to district finances and facilities. And I want to, I'm speaking for co-chair Ahea Hinton, who's not here, as well as myself, deeply appreciate those of you who attended, presented, tuned in, and otherwise engaged with us on these meetings. It was our goal to use the committee structure and the committee meetings as a platform to provide the public with information on key initiatives related to district finances and facilities. And we were trying to, through that, encourage timely investments in capital projects in order to promote the health and safety of students and staff and to support academic programming. And so we requested monthly updates on the progress of these projects, along with regular updates on work completed by the operations team to support healthy learning environments. and in the process made lots of requests to Ms. Floyd and Mr. Monson, and really want to appreciate the two of them and their staffs for always being prepared and always getting us that information. But again, I'll conclude by saying thank you to those members of the public who came out. You were really who made our committee meetings work by asking good questions and presenting good information, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Our next report will come from Dr. McGinley from the Student Achievement and Support Committee.
Thank you. Good evening. This month we received 2 reports from the district staff and heard from public participants. The district reports included information on athletics, extracurricular programs, out-of-school time programs. James Lynch, the Executive Director of Athletics, Chris Schaefer, Deputy Chief of the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, provided the committee with an overview of the programs offered to students throughout the district, and this included a note of several state championships that we've won throughout the year, and a bunch of other things that I'm skipping over. We also had an update from the charter school office on action items 89, 90, and 91 on tonight's agenda, along with upcoming board decisions. Christina Grant, interim chief of the charter schools office, provided recommendations on the following charter schools: Mass 2, Philadelphia Montessori Charter, Independence Charter School West, and the Math, Civics, and Science Charter School. Additionally, Ms. Grant reviewed the updated renewal process and a timeline that will be used in the 1920 school year for the renewal cohort that we think is a good opportunity for the district and a good opportunity for the charter schools. We received updates on some action items, but there were no specific questions or recommendations coming from the committee. And I would just note that over the course of the year, our committee held 10 meetings. We discussed 27 topics related to the board's priority on student achievement, and we thank all the stakeholders who attended the meetings or tuned in this year, and we appreciate your input and the feedback that you gave us during the meetings and the thoughtful questions that you asked. I also want to give special thanks to Dr. Sean Bird, Dr. Savoy Brooks, and Christina Grant, who served as committee liaisons this year, and a frequent presenter, Peng Chow, from the charter school office as well. Thank you for your help. Thank everybody in the board office for their work in preparing our agendas and our minutes and presentations. It's been tremendous help to us as we complete our first year, and we look forward to working at a deeper level on a number of the issues that we evaluated this year. So thank you.
Are there any questions for Dr. McGinley? Our next report will come from the Partnership and Community Engagement Committee. Ms. Danzy, I believe you're giving that report.
Yes, and I'll
Since
even be,
Ms.
I'll beat your
Fitz-Lopez is-
speed, Dr. McGinley. On June 6th, we had a board meeting, or should I say an open meeting, where we sort of gave an update and a report on the activities we'd been doing, the visits we'd made, the committee meetings we'd had, and the feedback from the various constituents out in the community as it relates to what our big focus was: engagement, and talking about some of the things that deter engagement and some of the things we might be able to do to better improve the engagement. We've also discussed with them and presented findings relative to the school survey, and I hope all of you here who have students in school did do that school survey, because it really helps to identify for us where we need to improve, what we need to expand, etc. In the coming year, next school board year, we will be trying to look at what are the policies we need to adopt as it relates to the engagement material we received in terms of how to make it better, what makes it not work. And that engagement means not just about how our schools look, but really how they are felt that they are received when they come to the schools. We do really want to thank Karen Lynch and Tanya Wolford and their staff. They have been very helpful to us. I'm sure sometimes it was very taxing, because we can be, I don't know if you picked this up, but this is a board that can be very challenging at times, and we bore down on things. And so we thank them for their tolerance and all of the help they gave us in getting material. We look to see you next year. We will also be further working with our advisory board, and you will be hearing more about them. And I want to thank everyone who came on June 6th, who came to our community meetings, and we hope that you will not only come next year, but also bring your friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dancy. Our next report will come from the Policy Committee. Dr. McGulkin.
Thank you. As you've already heard, action item 1 on our agenda includes policies that were reviewed by our committee in May. Because we are removing policy, withdrawing policy 007 from the action item list, there are 13 items to be for consideration this evening. The policies that will be considered this evening are 108, adoption of instructional resources and materials, 127, assessments, 215, promotion and retention, 219, student complaints, 225, Head Start Policy Council, 247, hazing, 320, freedom of speech and political activities in non-school settings, 325, meal policy for district employees, 601, fiscal objectives, 702, grants, gifts, donations, and student fundraising, 803, the school calendar, 903, public participation in board meetings, 906, addressing student and constituent concerns. The Board of Education will also consider the elimination of policy 205, postgraduate students, 229, student fundraising, 240, scholarships, and policy 350, employee assistance program. At our next meeting in August, the board will review and consider minor revisions to a set of policies, along with the proposed elimination of 5 policies. These recommendations were made to our committee at our May meeting by the administration, and for more information on that, you can review the presentations made at our May 16th meeting. We'll further discuss these at our August action meeting. And finally, I want to thank those of you who are engaged in our policy review process by either attending our committee meetings, submitting written testimony, or speaking in action meetings this year. We know this is a tremendous amount of reading and review, so we appreciate your help. And additionally, on behalf of all of the committee and the board, I'd like to give special thank you and acknowledgement to Naomi Wyatt, our committee liaison, and all of our staff who help us with all of the work. So thank you all very much, and happy summer, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. McCulkin. Are there any questions? Thank you. Our next agenda is hearing from our student speakers, elected officials who are here tonight, and those who are registered to speak on action items we're considering this evening. We'll hear from speakers on general topics later in our agenda after we've voted on tonight's business. Do we have any elected officials wishing to make remarks? Seeing none. I'd like to note that we have received written testimonies related to action item 40, the sale of Belmont, which has been withdrawn, and action item 91, the Mass Charter renewal. Ms. Rauch, would you please share our speakers policy and then call up the first 5 speakers?
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of the Board of Education, I'd like to thank the public for its input on school district matters and issues, including the proposed actions being considered this evening. To respect every speaker's time, we will be strictly enforcing the 3-minute per speaker time limit. There is an electronic time prompt on the table. When it turns yellow, you have 30 seconds to complete your remarks. When it turns red, your time is up. Written testimony submitted in advance of the start of this meeting will be included as part of the record of the meeting. I will be calling generally 5 speakers at a time to the front of the room to be seated in the front row. President Wilkerson said those who registered on action item 40 will be moved to later in the meeting. I'm actually going to call 6 because that's who we have before business. Deborah Grill, Robin Dominic, Diane Payne, Leah Clouden, Darrell Bundridge, and John Welsh.
Good evening. I actually want to discuss 3 items on the agenda today. First, the lease with Drexel University. I don't understand why Drexel, a university that has refused to pay pilots, now expects the district, in reality taxpayers, to pay any amount of money for the construction of the building, which it will then lease from Drexel. So the leasee not only has to pay rent, but also has to contribute to the construction of the landlord's building, as well as pay for repairs and capital improvements. The action item states the district rent will be $12 a year. Is that a flat rate, or is it $12 per square foot per year? That makes a big difference. Is there a guarantee that it will never go up? Because the action item states that the parties will revisit the terms of the agreement every 5 years. And what happens after the 35-year lease is up? This deal only underscores the irony of the district now renting a school building from Drexel on the site of the school building that it sold to Drexel a few years ago. The second item was Belmont, and I'll discuss it now. Okay, I don't know where to begin. Why the district would sell its only catchment school in the area to buy it back again at the same price plus the cost of improvements if the charter closes. Mr. Karp's foundation will own the building, rent it out to its charter at probably more than it paid the district to rent, and in addition to the tuition from the district, get a rent reimbursement from the state. In other words, double dipping from the taxpayer trough. Another sweet deal. I can't help but think that Mr. Karp views this sale as his consolation prize for his loss of 4601 Market Street. Third, Mass 2's charter's generous enrollment increase. An increase needed because, as CEO John Swire said, more students allows us to borrow money, grow quicker. And Mass needs those students to pay off the bonds they took out to pay for their Tacony facility, its expansion, and the remediation of the former industrial site on which the school sits. Again, real estate, not education, is what it seems to be all about. If you look at the proposed plans for the Tacony campus on the city planning website, you'll see a riverside location, 2 large buildings, and athletic fields circumvented by the Delaware River nature trails. The value of the land in the buildings, all tax-free, can only go up as the neighborhoods abutting the Delaware River trails and parks becomes gentrified, while Mass continues to mine students from neighboring public schools to secure public money for its real estate portfolio. It's not your responsibility to facilitate profitable real estate deals for charter operators or universities. Your first responsibility is to the children in existing Philadelphia public schools. And please vote no on the Belmont sails off the river, the Drexel lease, and the enrollment increase for Mass. Thank you.
Sorry, Robin Dominic.
Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. Height, and community members. My name is Robin Dominic, and I am a member of the Powelton Village Civic Association Board, the community that's directly adjacent to Drexel, and a former Powell parent, and currently my kids are still in the school district. I recognize that Drexel is asking for funding to support the construction of the new Powell Slam School, and I wanted to provide some history, since this venture goes back to more than 9 years, and express my support for their request. In 2010, when President Fry came to Drexel, a renewed interest in the surrounding neighborhood came with him. In particular, within the neighborhood, conversations focused on increasing home ownership by providing a strong elementary and middle school. Within the school, conversations revolved around increasing high-performing seats, you remember those, and creating a larger K-4 school to accommodate a large wait list of outside catchment families, as well as a middle school. Once the idea to increase the size of Powell and create a middle school was cemented, representatives from Drexel, the School District of Philadelphia, the community, and other stakeholders came together to create a vision for the school as well as preliminary plans. Through this process, Drexel has, in good faith, kept to many of the community requests, including keeping the school a public school, because back then it was a consideration to make it a charter, which would make a building built. But they kept with our vision of that school, and I really respect them for that, as well as maintaining an open catchment. In the years between 2010 and now, Drexel has continued to provide staff, programming, and additional resources to Powell, and then also to SLAMs. They have been instrumental in obtaining grants through the Promise Zone initiative to support staffing, all in addition to having a capital campaign to obtain funding for a new public school. Overall, Drexel has worked in good faith to improve the educational outcomes at principal and support the principal. Powell and support the principal. From the community side, I have been very active with the coordination between Drexel and PVCA. We meet on a biweekly basis with Drexel administration and the police department, and as a result, Drexel has been an open and honest partner with us. They actively address quality of life issues. They have supported creating a community benefits agreement due to large construction projects that impact our neighborhood. They've created the Dornsife Center, which supports the surrounding neighborhoods with community programming geared to all. In general, they have been a generous partner to the communities, given us a seat at the table, and have listened to our concerns as well as addressed them to the best of their ability. In April, Drexel presented the final plans of the school to PVCA and received resounding support from all. The community is excited for the potential the new school brings to us. Again, I recognize this is a big ask in the current financial climate. However, Drexel has amazingly raised $29 million of capital dollars for this school, with the $7 million this school district contribution, a brand new building, which addresses significant overcrowding issues at Powell and addresses the need for a slams building. With no environmental issues, we'll be able to educate 900 students a year at a high-performing and well-regarded
Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Payne.
Good evening. I am acutely aware that I am an old white woman who keeps bringing up the money grab and game manipulation of mostly old white men, which affects the resources of mostly brown and black children. But I'm here today to do it again. I am asking you to vote no on the charter amendment within the Mass 2's renewal, asking for an enrollment increase of 650 students. Openly stated in the CSO recommendation for this increase is, and I quote, "The CSO anticipates the enrollment increase to positively impact the charter school's ability to borrow money for construction." So the bottom line is that Philadelphia school children are the bargaining chip for construction costs in what really appears to be a Ponzi-type arrangement. The bottom has to keep getting filled in to support the top. Let's look at how this group of white men are manipulating the system. Achievement scores across Mass campuses are in reinforce, with the exception of the high school, which is in watch. But here's some important demographic information. In the two campuses, the poverty percentages are 26 and 43%, while the district hovers at 74%. The African American population is 8 and 24%. The district hovers at 50%. Mass's white population is 68% and 41%, while the district hovers at 14%. As parents, Stephanie King pointed out in testimony to you in clearly defined terms regarding her Northern Liberties neighborhood, the district is engaging in willful segregation. And as one board member acknowledged that day, this is an area of concern to the board. Charles Swoyer III, the CEO of MAST, pulls in an income of $335,147 for one school. Santilli and Thompson, more old white men, are the business managers of this and countless other charter schools, collecting hefty fees. While kids at schools like Gideon, Sheridan, Harding, and more struggle for resources, safety, and non-toxic buildings. None of Mass campuses are or will be, as Dr. Height likes to say, a great school close to their home, because each campus is in a remote location with no neighborhood around. But each campus will have state-of-the-art facilities to provide that private school-like vibe to their select group of students. Approving an enrollment increase in this Ponzi-like scheme is a vote for growing the district's willful segregation. Thank you.
Leah Clouden. Darrell Bundridge. Oh, is Leah here? Sorry.
Sorry, gotta pull it back up.
Okay. Greetings. My name is Leah Clouden. I'm speaking on behalf of Mama Gals Community Education Network. We would like the Board of Education to vote no for the lease agreement with Drexel University or its affiliates for building the co-location of Powell Elementary School and Science Leadership Academy Middle. We would like the Board of Education to consider locations for Powell and SLAM. at Morton McMichael for Powell. This school is only 10 minutes away and can house the total student population of Powell. SLA at Bieber, leave SLA at Bieber and move the middle students of SLAM and make it a duplicate of GAMP or High School of Engineering Science. Another option would be for you to take Overbrook High School, a 2,446 student capacity location, and making it a K-12, combining SLAM and SLA Bieber. In the past, Drexel University has had its agreement with working with the students of both Powell and SLAM, where they travel to their location. With our options, they can still continue their partnership. Any one of these options can save the district $7 million. If you create a K-8 at Drexel University, it will duplicate the situation you already have at Sadie Alexander, which has now been renamed Penn Alexander. There are a total of 502 students out of catchment area for the 3 nearby schools, Powell, McMichael, and SLAM. You have plenty of space. Yes, you have plenty of space in the west and southwest region that you can utilize your own building. It's time for the district to truly care. It's time for the district to truly care about the other 15,726 students in the west and southwest regions of the city. Redesign these 2 areas to improve the quality of education. 6 years ago, the district could have saved University City High School by placing all your Parkway High School programs in one central location at University City. The University City High School could have accommodated your Parkway Center City, Parkway North, Northeast, and Parkway West, along with University City High School students. With the capacity, when student capacity was the issue along with repairs. There could have been a high school in the heart of a college campus. The decision was made to close the school, sell the land, and then Drexel bought the land as an investment. Now Drexel wants to capitalize on their investments from the same people who sold them the land in the first place, using taxpayers' dollars to gain on their investment and taking the control of the site out of the district hands. Example is the previous deal, the land sold by the district would be like the 21st Street, where the district sold the building and leased it back at $2 million yearly for SLA and paid $500,000 to renovate the same building which they didn't own. Vote no and focus on what you own.
Darrell Bundridge. And I'm also going to call, there are some other speakers who are going to talk before board business. If they could come to the front. Gretchen Walker, Barbara Dowdall, and Lisa Haber. Thank you. You can start.
Sure. Good evening, school board members.
That was fast.
Yeah. Good evening, school board members, Dr. Height, and audience. My name is Darrell Bundridge. I'm the proud executive director of City Year Philadelphia, and I'm here to speak regarding our role in supporting school improvement. We are an AmeriCorps program that fills national service, and we serve the students and families and communities of Philadelphia for the past 20 years. This year, we were in 19 schools with 189 AmeriCorps members serving a little over or almost 13,000 students. City Year is important in that we believe it provides a double bottom line, one in which we provide those holistic supports for academic, social emotional supports for students, while we're also developing young leaders, 18 to 25-year-olds, of a diverse talent pipeline for Philadelphia and particularly towards our schools. We certainly are here in support of the school district's Anchor One goal, having 100% of students ready for college and career. And we do that through recognizing, supporting the social, emotional, and behavioral needs, while also connecting schools and community resources to partnerships. So 2 of the action items in the plan. As I said, we are diverse teams of young people who work in the areas of the early warning indicators, because we know that, of course, students as earlier as 3rd grade have only a 25% chance of graduating if one of those indicators aren't addressed. And so we work with students in grades 3 through 9 to do so and increase their chances of on-time graduation. Our core members are integrated into the fabric of the school and to help with the ratio of adults to students and forge positive relationships. And we know that as a result of our work, we see it working in action. In one of our national studies, schools with City Year are 2 to 3 times more likely to improve in their math and English assessments compared to those without. And in addition, again, approximately 1 month of math and English learning compared to those without. Our principals and our teachers all agree, 95% of our teachers and 100% of our principals, that our core members foster a positive learning environment and have a positive impact on our school's climate. But we also believe that our core members serving is bringing value back to the community. We know that up to 75% of our AmeriCorps members each year stay in the Philadelphia community in many different facets of work: lawyers, social workers, healthcare practitioners, nonprofit staff, as well as educators. And we know that they're also more involved. Those who enter the classroom have the experience of having served, and they're collaborative and they want to make change. We're also more diverse than the national teaching population, with 46% of our alums pursuing teaching as a career. We also leverage our financial investment. So for the investment the district makes, that's leveraged 3 to 1. And so we're seen as a cost-effective adult-to-student ratio. So I'd invite you to and thank you for your continued support of our partnership.
John Welsh.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is John Welch, and I'm speaking on behalf of Mama Gail's Community Education Network. We'd like the Board of Education to vote no for the lease agreement with Drexel University or its affiliates for building the co-location of Powell Elementary School and the Science Leadership Academy Middle. Within an area of West and Southwest Philadelphia, $7 million can be better spent by redesigning 4 junior high schools, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, Tilden, Bieber, Sayre, and Mia. Repair, not replace 2 indoor Olympic-sized pools in that region. Redesign Bartram High School to be a CTE trade school. Redesign Overbrook High School for a K-12 with the SLA program. The school has the capacity to hold 2,446 students. History of Science Leadership Academy. This program has been funded from the beginning with a lease agreement and operation costs exceeding $2 million a year at the 21st Street location, starting in 2013. At that location, the school district allowed money to be spent of up to $500,000 to renovate the rented property. Science Leadership Academy, SLAM, it also a leased property, and the district had to also lease a gym estimated to be around $1 million a year. The renovations at Beaver Middle School to accommodate SLA at Beaver, the relocation cost of SLA Center City Campus to Benjamin Franklin High School. It's not just $7 million associated with this program, it's $7 million plus the money that has already been invested in this program and the added cost to come. Yes, we do need better teachers and principals right now, but not a new school when the school district has a share to underutilized space in the West and Southwest region. Don't let this be a potential charter school posing as a public school. Thank you.
Gretchen Walker.
Good afternoon. Do you mind if I stand? I'm more comfortable this way, and I'm going to jump around on my talking points. My name is Gretchen Walker, and I am a parent of 2 children at Powell School. I'm the home and school president. And I have to tell you, my daughter just recently graduated, and she said, I was all about SLAMs. You should go to SLAMs. I love the curriculum. She said, Mommy, I want a real school with a real school building and a real gym. She's going to GAMP. I know that it is extremely contentious, the ask that Drexel just posed to the school district. But Drexel has been involved at Powell for 9 years. They've been providing services, they've been providing programming, including Springboard, Artisteer, Eat Right Now, Playworks, Dornsife Center, administrative support, links to math grant via Lenfest Foundation. Drexel, I'm not here to fight for Drexel, I'm here to fight for a new school and to give you the parent eye view that it needs to happen. We have been in limbo, so there are children that have lost out on library support. They have lost out because the special ed students are in the library receiving their instruction while there are teacher meetings going on, while there are personnel walking through. There is no space. There's mold that needed to be remediated in the music facility, which is rented because there's not enough school at Powell. This year, instruction was interrupted for 6 months. There's mold that's been condemned in a trailer for 3 years. I have to thank Danielle Floyd, COO, who has been very responsive to the school's needs and has been meeting with the school community at Powell and at SLAMS, inviting SLAMS parents quarterly to give updates about the new school. But this limbo is damaging students. This limbo is damaging the students who don't have opportunities elsewhere to get music, to get tutoring, to get extra instruction. And the limbo needs to stop. Whether it's at McMichael, I don't care where it is, the school needs to be built. That SLAM school needs to be able to reach its potential of its innovative curriculum. We need to be able to maximize the possibilities. And I think if it's time for a compromise and it's not an optimal situation, we just need to get it done. The community does still feel the loss of Drew and U City High School and has certainly expressed frustration where there should be a new school, there is a beer garden. The school needs to get built. Powell is a gem with strong leadership, ability to bring up students at need that come not ready for kindergarten and foster potential of students that come with more skills. It's a school that really deserves to lead and to have the anchor, to continue to be the anchor in West Philly it is, while providing a bridge for students all over West Philadelphia. Thank you very much for supporting the progress of a new school.
Barbara Dowdall.
How many more speakers do we have?
Good evening. Noting that the stated purpose of the Resolution 81 is to reduce the effects of assistant superintendent turnover and attrition, I would offer suggestions for both achieving the goal and saving $200,000. Conduct exit interviews with exiting assistant superintendents to discern why it is their tenures are so fleeting. Free up Dr. Height's time to allow him to conduct trainings, as he has a proven track record of staying long-term right here in Philadelphia. Approach Eli Broad, founder of the Broad Superintendent's Academy, to gift the district with the funds to cover the cost of other sessions. Our own superintendent received his training there, and just yesterday, Mr. Broad himself confirmed that he has so much money he would welcome a tax increase for himself and his fellow billionaires in the New York Times. Redesign hiring criteria for assistant superintendents to have demonstrated longevity in their career paths leading to that post. At least 3 years as a classroom teacher, at least 4 years as a principal. Previously, in the school district, just high school department heads were required to have 5 years experience teaching in high schools. Appeal to Mark Gleason, long deserving of the title Assistant Superintendent, and the Philadelphia School Partnership for more funds. Just recently, the school district demonstrated their confidence in Mr. Gleason's talent in redesigning a high school's grade configuration after communicating through silence that the school community's own carefully constructed proposal was not up to snuff. Transfer from consulting the Boston Consulting Group for organizational charts, school assessments, and closures to the Philly Consulting Group. Invite parents, school staff, and students in to share concerns about their school's conditions. Insist on candidates who have demonstrated valuing and supporting professionally staffed libraries in every school. The vetted, thus, assistant superintendents may not stay any longer in their positions, but students will be happier and be better readers. Though not directly related to the attrition issue, a school police officer remonstrated with me after the last meeting over my egregious omission of this, his and my favorite topic, school libraries. And the Philly Consulting Group consists of children of public school graduates, public school working and retired staff, parents of public school students and graduates, Philadelphia residents, and public officials advocating for public schools. Directories supplied on request, and service advice will be all no charge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Haver.
Thank you. I signed up on the one topic, but I had intended to speak on Belmont and also Mast. So I'm going to hold my remarks on Belmont just to say how maybe not a coincidence it is that Michael Karp, very rich real estate developer who served on the PICA board for many years, all of a sudden has Representative Turzai introducing a bill in Harrisburg. Michael Karp, who along with John Fry, by the way, are both very heavy contributors to the Philadelphia School Partnership. So I guess we'll stay tuned. I mean, if there's some way to explain what that bill's about, I know I'd appreciate it, but...
We'll make the link
Okay.
available.
All right, thank you. But I wanted to say about Mast School, and I did attend the Student Achievement Committee, that it's really disturbing that apparently the board's about to give Mast Charter another 650 students, which in the non-charter world is another school. There are schools in the Mast zip code 19111 with enrollments that are actually less than that number. So Mast will be taking students from those public schools and of course driving up stranded costs for the district. I was surprised at that meeting that no board member questioned this massive enrollment increase when the charter school office said that it was recommending these 650 more students. The questions were actually about whether Mast had withdrawn its MCSO application and whether it would be applying for a new charter anytime soon. APS has objected to the board directing the charter school office to engage in private negotiations with charters. I'm starting to wonder whether we have crossed the line from negotiation to extortion. I'd love to have an answer if possible. Was a deal made that if Mast withdrew its MCSO, the board would allow them to have another 650 students? Because it seemed that way. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I perceived that wrong. But that 650 would actually bring the number up to what Mast had originally asked for in its application 3 years ago. And I'm wondering, where was the public engagement? Have the families in 19135 or 19111 been asked how they feel about, as I said, basically having another 650 student school? A lot of questions that I hope you can answer. In general, and you know, Auden Reed being recommended for non-renewal, was recommended for non-renewal in 2016. 3 years have gone by. Now the board seems like it's about to give a retroactive renewal, even though its last SPR scores were 0, 0, and 0. So, you know, when the board directs the charter school office to negotiate with Mast, with Belmont, with Auden Reed, it does give the appearance that these matters have already been decided. So I'd like you to consider that. And if you can answer any of those questions, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's now time to discuss and vote on this month's action item. Before I begin, I wanted to be clear about how I'll be grouping these votes. These items have been reviewed at the committee and posted publicly for over 2 weeks. I will pull out all personnel items, charter items, student expulsions, and action item 41, which is the lease for Drexel University. We'll be voting on these matters separately. I also want to note that item 40, which pertains to the potential sale of Belmont, has been withdrawn. And so with that, the items that are going to be voted on as a group are the following: action items 1 through 3, 9 through 16, 20 through 39, 42 through 88, and 92 through 96. We'll be starting the meeting with a vote on those items as a group. Like I said, the charter items are going to be voted on separately. The student expulsions and personnel items will be voted on separately, as will the lease of Drexel, the lease with Drexel University, because I understand there are concerns about those items. Board members, can I have a motion to vote on action items 1 through 3, 9 through 16, 20 through 39, 42 through 88, and 92 through 96?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions about any of those items? Seeing no questions, hearing no questions, please call the roll on those items.
Thank
We're
you.
voting on items 1 through 3, 9 through 16, 20 through 39, 42 through 88, and 92 through 60.
96.
96, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. Board members, I'm going to call, if you are voting yes as to most but no as to some, please state that. And I understand there are 3 abstentions, 2 as to action item 14 and 1 as to action item 75. So please state that when you vote. Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Huang?
I am abstaining from action item number 75, and I am a yes on all other items.
Thank you. Dr. McColgan?
Yes to all.
Dr. McGinley?
Yes to all items except item 14, which is with Temple Dental School.
Thank you. Dr. McIver?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Vice President Walker?
Yes to all.
Thank you. And President Wilkerson?
I'm abstaining with respect to action item 14 pertaining to Temple Dental School. I'm voting yes on all the other items.
Thank you.
We'll now consider the remaining action items. Board members, can I have a motion to approve action items 4 through 8, which are student expulsions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Board members, are there any questions about these items?
Madam President, not necessarily a question, but on some of these, it would be good if there was a better awareness of what some of the rules are for when a child should be referred for expulsion. There are 2 young men here who were referred, which meant we had to go through a hearing, and that was not a allowable process because of the distance from where it occurred from the school.
Those students are not on this list, though, now, right? Is that correct?
No, they're on the list, but for not.
Oh, for not.
Right, of course, it's already been done.
Got
But
it. Thank you.
And I believe your point is they shouldn't have been on the...
not have been on the, at all, yes.
Okay.
And then just clarify, a yes vote means yes as all of our, as they are written.
As the
Yes,
recommended, yeah.
As to the action items, yes.
And I want to thank Dr. Danzy, who is going to these hearings, that it is a huge time commitment, but it's an important decision for the board, and so we appreciate your attending these hearings and advocating as appropriate. And with that, Ms. Rout, please call the roll.
Thank you. Board members, we're calling roll on action items 4 through 8. Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Huang?
Yes to all.
Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, can I have a motion to vote on action items 17 and 18? Both of these are personnel matters.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions pertaining to these items? Seeing none, Ms. Rout, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam President. I will also, just for the record, note that action item 19 was previously withdrawn, so will not be voted on this evening. On action items 17 and 18, Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Huang?
Yes to both.
Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, our next item is item 41, a lease with Drexel University. May I have a motion and a second to consider this item?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? Miss Dr. McIver.
I do have a comment. Is this time for comment or questions or either? Either one? I do have a comment because I do want to say that I, in principle, don't believe that the school district should, moving forward, let go of any of our real estate. So I do find that problematic. However, this decision precedes our tenure on the board. I live in that neighborhood. We raised 2 schools to the ground, and it's been empty since, and Powell is completely overcrowded. We are getting a new school without lead and asbestos, and
all of the remediation that is necessary for many of our schools. And I feel very strongly that this is what we need to do. I wish we weren't in a position to have to put in money to get the school built, but there are families in limbo right now, and I just wanted to put that out there.
I too will be voting in favor of this, and I see it as a very responsible move on the part of the district. This is a good partnership with the university, and if we were to rebuild Powell School ourselves, we would be spending way more than this amount. So I am voting in favor of this. The lease agreement does not represent a large sum moving forward after this initial investment, and there's no way we could have a school of this size for $7 million on our own.
Yeah. I'll be supporting this as well, and I'm glad to see that the current schools are not involved in this transaction. I know that one of the things that we've worried about is what's happening in the Penn Alexander neighborhood, and that it's driven, a lot of people would argue it's driven gentrification. We've had the opportunity to talk with some of the Drexel folk about what's being done to invest in affordable housing. There are also concerns, I know I spoke with some regular attendees who expressed concern about, is it big enough? Are we projecting enough growth? And so I'm glad to see that we're retaining the old buildings so that as we go through this whole study process about school utilization and projected growth, we will not have sold off the opportunity to provide additional opportunities should the need arise in the future. And so I too will be voting to support this. And are there any other comments?
I just wanted to add one more comment to it, because you did, I live in the Penn Alexander catchment and have seen how gentrification has changed the demographic of the school. And I think that the responses from Drexel around maintaining that economic diversity and the racial diversity made me feel better about that decision.
Yeah. Any other comments? Seeing none. Ms. Rock, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam President, and I understand there's one abstention on this item. Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Huang?
I am abstaining.
Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you. The action item passes by a vote of 6-0 with one abstention. Thank you.
We'll now consider action item 89, which is an application for charter renewal for Independence Charter School. I believe this was considered at the Student Achievement Committee meeting, was presented there. Is there a motion and a second to consider action item 89?
So I make a motion to approve the renewal application and the renewal charter for Independence Charter School West.
Second.
Are there any comments from board members?
Madam Chair?
Seeing none, Ms. Rout, please call the roll.
Thank you.
Anybody in a meeting under Section 710C, anybody in a meeting can object to the proceedings if they violate the Sunshine Act. So I'm objecting because you do not have any content for this.
Thank you.
You are voting on something, and let's let it apply to 89, 90, 91, that you are taking votes on things that you are not telling the public.
Thank you. Ms. Rout.
Ms. Danzy, I'm sorry, board members, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Independence Charter School West. When I call your name, either vote yes to approve if you are approving the renewal application and renewal charter school for Independence Charter School West, or vote no to not approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Independence Charter School West. Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Huang?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Thanks. Vice President Walker?
Yes.
And President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you.
The board will now vote on action item 90, the application for charter renewal for the Philadelphia Montessori Charter School. May I have a motion and a second to consider action item 90.
Move to approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Philadelphia Montessori Charter School.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions, comments? Ms. Rout, please call the roll.
Thank you. Board members, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Philadelphia Montessori Charter School. Again, when I call your name, either vote yes if you approve the renewal application and renewal charter for the Philadelphia Montessori Charter School, or vote no to not approve. Ms. Danzy?
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Huang?
Yes.
Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next item is action item 91, the application for charter renewal for Math, Science, Technology Community Charter School 2. May I have a motion and a second to consider action item 91?
So moved.
Can you read the motion, please? We were on a roll.
I move to approve the renewal application and renewal for charter for Mathematics, Science, and Technology Community Charter School. Two.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Ms. Rout, please. Ms. Rout, this was. Ms. Rout, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam President. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Mathematics, Science, and Technology Community Charter School 2. Board members, when I call your name, either vote yes to approve the renewal application and renewal charter school for Math, Science, and Technology Community Charter School 2, or vote no to not approve. Ms. Danzy? Ms. Danzy, excuse me, we're taking in the middle of a vote. Thank you. Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, and excuse me, board members, I understand there's one abstention, so please state that if I call your name. Mr. Huang?
Yes.
Dr. McColgan?
I'll be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you. Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next item is action item 92, the application for charter renewal for the Universal Auden Reed Promised Neighborhood Partnership Charter School. May I have a motion and a second to consider action item 92?
I move to ratify the approval of the renewal application and renewal charter for Universal Auden Reed Promise Neighborhood Partnership Charter School.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Ms. Rout?
Thank you. Board members, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Universal Auden Reed Promise Neighborhood Partnership Charter School. When I call your name, either vote yes to approve the renewal application and renewal charter for Universal Auden Reed Promise Neighborhood Partnership Charter School, or vote no to not approve the renewal application and renewal charter. Ms. Danzy?
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Huang?
Yes.
Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Dr. McGinley?
No. I vote no, to not approve the renewal application, renewal application and renewal charter for Universal Auden Reed Promise Neighborhood.
Thank you. Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you. That vote passes by a vote of 6 yes, 1 no. Thank you.
We'll now hear from speakers registered on general topics. As a reminder, we'll be strictly enforcing the 3-minute per speaker time limit. There's an electronic time prompt on the table. When the yellow light comes on, you'll have 30 seconds to wrap up your comments. When the red light comes on, your time is up. Up to 4 speakers will address the board on each topic and have been registered on a first-come, first-served basis. Is Councilwoman Blackwell still here? Was she able to? She left. I know she was here to express support for Global Leadership Academy, and so we appreciate her commitment to public education in Philadelphia. Ms. Rout, please call the next 5 speakers, and when your name is called, please begin making your way to the front of the room.
Thank you. Ernest Holland, Carter Belmont, Linda Rubin, Eileen Posis, and Naima Davis. Is Ernest Holland here? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ernest Holland. I am a Belmont Charter School alum, Academy at Palumbo graduate, and now a sophomore at Temple University. I live in a community a few blocks away from the school, and I am still regularly connected to the school through job opportunities provided to myself and other alumni peers. My current role has been working with the maintenance team, where I am seeing firsthand some of the issues with the disrepair of the building. In my youth, not that I lost any, I've had problems, getting into trouble, fights, etc. I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. When I transferred from a former school to Belmont, a school whose teachers and staff changed my perspective on who I was and who I could be. The school really helped sculpt me into the person I am today. I once was a student who received poor grades and was in trouble a lot, but having social workers like Ms. Barry and Ms. Jean really helped change my mentality and improve my behavior. Some days, as a young boy like me, just needed to talk to someone, and the school understood that. Not only did I have someone there to listen when I had problems or when I was going through rough times, I felt the safety of a friend. The school also had a lot of extracurricular activities for students that help them connect to their education. For me, being a part of the wrestling team and having a coach like Coach McCabe pushing me to do my best is what helped keep my grades up. I can say this was my experience with all the staff, from the janitors to the principal. Coming to Belmont became an outlet, and I remember how eager I was to come to school every day. Eventually, my behavior improved, allowing me to attend one of the top schools in the city. However, on hot days during the school year, I often wondered why we didn't have air conditioning. It would have helped me with a lot of things, dealing with my asthma and how my other peers had it as well. I saw firsthand other students dealing with emergency situations because the weather was so hot. Some days I would be so hot that I would lose my concentration in class because I was too busy trying to make myself cool. Although the teachers did help by putting fans in their rooms to compete with the sun rays would just win. The heat of the school led to early dismissals and frustrating days in school clothing. My friends and I looked forward to going to school to hang with each other because the neighborhood was rough. The school made me feel safe, like it was home, and I never wanted to miss that. I believe Belmont will do well with this ownership of the school. It will provide an opportunity to not only provide air conditioning, but to correct a number of other issues to provide a better environment for the students. At Belmont, there is so much potential and vision for students, but we need your help to make our school as best as it can be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carter Belmont.
Hi, my name is Carter Belmont, and I'm here on behalf of Belmont Charter Network. And yes, you heard correctly, my last name just happens to be Belmont. I first joined Belmont Charter as an out-of-school time coordinator for their preschool and kindergarten programs. I am proud to say that my curious, active, and brilliant kindergartners are now in the 5th grade at Belmont Elementary, located at 4030 Brown Street. Throughout their years with us, our students have become accustomed to the overheated classrooms, their concrete playground, passing trash cans full of water due to our leaking roof. Since 2002, our organization has been building an invaluable trust with the Belmont neighborhood, and I personally hold that to high esteem. I'm here to set the record straight. So, for the record, Belmont Elementary has been, is, and will remain a neighborhood school for the Belmont community. This year, we served over 800 students and have always held ourselves directly responsible for meeting their needs. Our parents have come to us explicitly with their concerns about the safety of the building. It is literally falling apart. Last week, a little over 130 parents and community members met at Belmont Elementary in support of the plans to repair the building. 896 supporters have signed our petition, which the board presently has evidence of, along with community letters of support. Simply put, we are obligated to fight for our parents because their children absolutely deserve better. By purchasing the building, we have the ability to directly respond to the community's needs and wants. After the proposed purchase, the building will still remain a community school, as it has for the past 17 years and counting. Despite the depressing heat, leaky roof, and concrete playground, we are all still proud to call Belmont our home. In addition to our organization's petition, I also handed over a copy of the agreement with the school district that grants first buy at the same price and with no interest if we were ever to relinquish or lose our charter license. Moreover, releasing this building will free the school district of $1 million in debt, allowing the district to reallocate its funding to service schools that need repair as well. Belmont students, along with all Philadelphia students, deserve to feel safe and to be in a comfortable learning environment. These renovations can only be done with the purchase of the building. Although the action item has been removed for today, I, Carter Belmont, on behalf of our students, families, and staff, am asking you to vote yes to the purchase of 4030 Brown Street. We cannot fail our students. Thank you.
Linda Rubin. Linda Rubin.
Good evening. I'm actually going to throw out the first paragraph of what I was going to say because I really am not sure what it takes to close a charter school. The SRC was overthrown by public demand because of how they were running the board, running the school district, and now it looks like it's business as usual. Today, I'm here specifically to urge you to vote no on the sale of 4030 Brown Street, a district building, to Michael Karp and his newly formed nonprofit, Belmont Futures. Mr. Karp portrays himself as one who is just out to help the city's children. This multimillionaire real estate developer who owns much of University City's undergraduate student housing is a good salesman, but after all, he is a wealthy CEO who likes to be in charge. 2 years ago, Karp refused to sign the SRC's condition for renewal, but there were no repercussions when he loudly and consistently refused. He's quoted as saying that he thought that with the election of Mayor Kenny, he'd be able to buy the building. I assume Karp sitting on the PICA board that oversees city expenditures might have had something to do with his assumption. But again, that was not the case. For 2 years, his refusal to sign any agreement with conditions to improve the school was suddenly changed when he decided to use this as a chit to trade for being able to buy 4030 Brown Street. In other words, he believes he doesn't have to pay attention to the board unless he wants something from you. In 1999, Michael Karp was sued by Public Interest Law Center the Tenants Action Group on behalf of many families with children who were restricted to live in the basement apartments at complexes he managed. After months of fighting them, he finally settled the case, making the largest fair housing settlement to date, with a $750,000 cash settlement to the plaintiffs, his agreement not to repeat the practice, and to provide training to his staff in return for not having to admit guilt of violating the Fair Housing Act. It is this kind of real estate manager and charter operator you want to sell a building to? Not only is he not deserving of your trust for anything he puts in the sale agreement, he has a history of duping the public and not expecting to be held accountable for it. I've sat in many of the district's past SGS meetings with parents about their neighborhood schools. They may be poor, but I saw so many who prized the multi-generational aspect of their school. They complained about the district's removal of program supports and staff from the school, but wanted their principals and teachers to remain. None of them wanted their schools closed or moved elsewhere. Do not sell 4030 Brown Street to anyone, especially to Michael Karp.
Eileen Pozis.
The rationale to purchase Belmont School, according to WHYY, is that the Belmont Network has the money to make repairs but cannot make these repairs because it does not own the building. Why, however, can't the district just make a deal with Belmont to not raise their rental fees for a few years or allow a rent reduction if the charter makes the repairs on the building? How can the board declare that the property is unused and unnecessary to the present and future needs of the district? This building is being used now. And let's remember the sale of University City High School to Drexel as an unused and unnecessary building. Now the district intends to rent a new school building on the same site. Who will gain from purchasing Belmont? Michael Karp is sure to do well. Who will lose from selling this building? The children who attend close by. The charter never signed conditions to make the school a better school until they saw the chance to purchase and then expand their rule. Who will lose? Community people. Another hit for public control. Me, oh my, let's make this deal topple. So what are we to do to stop this deal go through? The board must make this sale taboo.
Naima Davis, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. And at the same time, I'm going to ask that the next group of speakers come to the front, please. Stephanie King, Janet McHale, Coleman Posis, Deborah Accure, and Joyce Abbott, please.
Good evening. Hi, guys. My name is Naima Davis. I am a member of the Belmont community, the Belmont family, and a parent of several Belmont graduates. I'm here today to read testimony of one of our fellow community members, Mrs. Basima Wack, who was unable to get off work today to attend. My name is Basima Wack. I am here this evening speaking on behalf of my family and my Belmont Charter Network family. Wow. I really don't know where to begin. The Wack family became a member of the Belmont Charter family over 13 years ago, starting with Baby Belmont, now known as Belmont Charter Academy. I can remember like it was yesterday walking into Baby Belmont with my then 4-year-old daughter. At this time in my life, I had just moved, me and my daughter, from the only area of Philadelphia that we knew due to a tragic event. While sitting with the case manager of the place we now called home, People's Emergency Center Shelter, it was time to then enroll Layla into school. I cannot stress enough how a great education was the only thing I was willing to accept for my daughter. I can remember walking into the school, standing to the side, observing this woman that spoke to each of my children by name, Miss Claire. As she made her way over to us, it was not me who she focused on. She knelt down to Layla and asked her if she wanted to see her new school. Since the first day I walked into Belmont, we have never left. Not only have my children both received a great education, Belmont has supported my family in many difficult barriers that develop within our lives. From assisting my son with getting his evaluation for speech, he started with 35% speaking ability. Now, with the help of the Belmont staff, Basim has 95%. With being a single mom and a low-income family, Belmont has given my children the lifetime experiences that I was not able to afford, from earning camping trips to water rafting to rock climbing. Belmont has even supported me when I faced homelessness with my 2 children. They assisted me and my daughter as she began to display negative behavior, as many children her age were doing. Not long after seeking help from the school, there was a therapist at Belmont who assisted families with several adolescent groups where they developed the support to help children. Being faced with so many hardships, but having my Belmont family as a support system was really what made a difference in our lives. Belmont has also done so much for our neighborhood, from family dinners to refacing the neighborhood to adding gardens and trees. Hopefully, we can find ways to let Belmont be a unity to all of us. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
That's right. Stephanie King.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie King, and I am a parent at General Philip Kearney Elementary School in Northern Liberties. I'm here because these last few meetings, I've watched Dr. Height assure a parade of concerned parents that they will not lose their art and music classrooms due to overcrowding. But what about the schools that have no art and music classes to lose because you've already taken those teachers away from them? My daughter's art class is the Clay Mobile. I've also seen numerous instances of Dr. Height proudly proclaiming that there is instrumental music in every school, with a whole slide dedicated to that in his annual presentation. Let me tell you a story about that. This year, my daughter was eligible to enroll in her school's violin classes. I wrote to the string teacher to sign her up. The teacher explained that they put the names of all the kids into a hat and drew names, and any kid whose name didn't get picked had to rent an instrument if they wanted to play. Being one of the few middle-class families in the school, we rented a violin ahead of time for our daughter to give the other kids a chance. On the day of my daughter's first violin lesson, I asked her how it went. She loved it and was extremely excited. Then I asked her who else was taking violin lessons, and she tells me, Sincere, another little boy who has been in her same classroom since kindergarten. When I asked who else, she told me, no one, just Sincere. His name was the one that got picked out of the hat. There was one violin. So when Dr. Height gets up and says there's instrumental music in every school, that may be technically true. But making something available isn't the same thing as making it accessible. Apparently, all the children in my daughter's class all have equal access to instrumental music. I am offended to watch these continued exaltations of art and music education when the truth is that the district considers these things extras to kids in poorer schools. I do not need to tell you that the deep inequities of race and class play out in access to arts and music education. Would Dr. Height be promising Nebinger they get to keep music and art if their kindergartens weren't already nearly half white? Is that what I have to do to get my children both an art and music teacher? The only reason they will have an art teacher next year is because I reported you for a curriculum violation, and that comes at the expense of losing their music teacher. You will make excuses that every principal gets to make their own staffing decisions. But how is a principal supposed to squeeze blood from a stone? They need teachers to cover their classroom instruction first and foremost. I look forward to hearing from the district on how they plan to provide both art and music classes at Kearney Elementary next year. If every student in Philadelphia deserves art and music, then prove it. Thank you.
Janet McHale, Coleman Poses.
Good evening, Dr. Height and school board members. My name is Janet McHale, and I'm a parent of a rising junior at the Academies of Roxborough High School, which had 153 graduating seniors who applied to 523 different colleges and universities this year. For those not aware, Roxborough is a career academy school, which is a school within a school that links students with peers, teachers, and community partners in a structured environment that fosters academic success, preparing students to succeed in both college and career. It groups students and teachers together in cohorts that stay together for 3 years. This empowers students to work together around career themes and 21st century workplace skills with the same group of teachers, business partners, and continuing education partners. The Academy of Health Sciences and Research, which includes biotechnology and kinesiology, has earned national distinction this year by achieving Model Career Academy status. This is the highest designation awarded by the National Career Academy Coalition. NCAC status certified that the Career Academy demonstrates excellence according to the national standards of practice and career academies. The Academy of Health Sciences and Research will be honored at the NCAC National Conference being held here in Philadelphia on November 11th through the 13th. The Academies of Business Technology and Entrepreneurship and Visual Arts Production are also in the process of starting the process to become nationally certified. The work is a team effort by the school, parents, students, and business partners led by the Academy specialist. This staff member is one who does all the legwork, not to mention paperwork, that fosters the business and community partnerships and ensures that all the academies maintain the high level of excellence that students, parents, and staff have come to expect from the academies at Roxborough High School. The Academy specialist at the academies for Roxborough was Mr. Leo Thomas. I say was because as of June 30th, his position is no longer in the school's budget. The position was originally funded by a grant that is now gone, and it is not a position that our principal can take out of the budget she was given. We are currently the neighborhood school for Cook, Wissahickon, Dobson, Henry, Houston, Jenks, as well as the 10th grade cohort for students of Strawberry Mansion. We are expecting 805 students next year. Without the academy specialist, it's going to be difficult for those students to determine the academy that fits their interest. At this time, I'm requesting that the board stop the practice of previous administrations and cutting programs or positions that are grant funded but they don't want to add it to the budget. Stop letting programs that work die and reinstate the academy specialist at the academies of Roxborough so that we can maintain the high standards you all expect. It's the least you can do after giving $7 million to an entity that pays no taxes.
Coleman Poses.
Thank you, Dr. Height, for your earlier remarks. Basically, you've rendered my remarks totally superfluous. But there's one thing that I didn't hear you mention, and I just wanted to get some clarification on that. One of the things that I had asked for with regard to voting registration was to have a list generated, by, I guess, the central office to various homeroom teachers or counselors to identify students that were about to turn 18 for all the cadres of people that you had talked about earlier to go out and possibly register those people. So I don't know, if that's doable, if it is doable, what needs to be a part of that, and if there's anything that I or the community can do to further that. I'd like to hear, a response to that. So that's pretty much all that I have to say today.
Thanks, Mr. Poses, for the question. And I'll have to get you that answer because I don't know the answer to that question. But I want to talk with my team and see how soon we can get you a response on that and who we need to help us if we can do that.
Okay, and I just want to say thank you for following through on a lot of the requests that I made.
We're also sending you a response, a letter too, with
Thank
all
you.
of that information. Thanks.
Deborah Acure? Azor, I'm sorry.
What's she speaking on? What's her topic?
Okay, here we go. Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Height. My name is Deborah Zor. I have major concerns with unfair practice that are happening in reference to our principal, Fatima Smith, at Andrew Hamilton School. The day prior to school closing, Ms. Burgess at Hamilton Building rep for the PFT rep communicated to several staff members that Wendy Coleman, PFT staff communicator, to her staff and Superintendent Rashid Davis said she was going to do her best to have Principal Smith fired. The last 2 days of school, several staff members was crying and upset. As a result of this rumor, Miss Davis, who has only came to our school to see for one time, she never had any interest in talking to the students. She should be very happy about the gains that the school has made. I am begging for a meeting with someone other than Mr. Rosnick, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who is clearly alleged with Miss Davis and Wendy Coleman, who is doing their internal investigation of the allegations being brought against this awesome principal. You can speak to any teachers, students, staff, parents, community partners, and let them tell you the great things she is doing. I am begging for a meeting to share other important items that is very important. Please, I need this meeting. I come to you. Not just that, Principal Smith been doing an awesome job at their school. This is her second year being here, coming to the third year. Right here, what she been doing, we have a PBY basketball champs, chess championships, technology, digital film championship. Kobe Bryant came to our school. We got the pen relay winners, lacrosse, climate award for 2 years. She have moved data from the red to the green, not little, but a lot. And right now, the rumors are true because she is up for to be vacated. She is up for to be removed from out of the school. We need a meeting because the teachers we want to get together because we need to stand together because it's not about the teachers, it's about the school. It's what she have done for the school, for the children. So the rumors have been true because this been like from the last day of school, this have happened. And then now that she's being up to be removed out of the school. So the rumors was true. How could that possibly be? She done all these great things.
I want to thank you. This is a personnel matter, and we're not able to discuss it.
No, I understand that. I understand it, but
I want to thank you for coming. We appreciate your feedback.
Okay, but I still want to let you, is there any kind of way that we can get a meeting?
No.
No?
This is a personnel matter that's pending at the district, and we're not able to discuss it with you.
Okay, but we want to put our forth effort of when we were submitting our complaints, it's going in the trash. Our complaints are going in the trash.
No.
So she had.
I have to call the next speaker.
Okay.
But we do appreciate your input.
Okay, but it is
you.
going in the trash because I have
It's-
complaints in here and it's in the trash.
Okay. Joyce Abbott, please. Is Joyce Abbott here? Okay, I'm going to call the next group of speakers. Please come to the front. Naomi Johnson Booker, Marina Katz-Nelson, Kim Fuller, Rochelle Singleton, and Diane Calton. Thank you.
Oops. Good evening. I've worked for the School District of Philadelphia for 30 years, from a classroom teacher to the Gratz cluster leader, managing an area that was larger than most PA school districts. During that time, I turned several schools around, one of them being Clymer Elementary in North Philadelphia. I left the district at the dawn of the new millennium and joined the public charter school movement. And in 2006, the school district asked me to take over a failing school that was in debt, Raising Horizons Quest, which I turned around, and that is now Global Leadership Academy, a flagship urban-based public charter school. In 2016, at the request of the district, I was asked to take over Huey, a Renaissance school. And during that time, over the last 2 years, we have turned that school, this being the third year, turned that school around, and we had a 91% academic growth this year on our PSSA. So here I am again, asking why, after doing that, And after being told by the charter office at that time that, come back later and apply for the amendment or the high school for us. I have been consulting with the charter office for the last 9 months, since November, when they came to the school and did our charter renewal. They sat with me for almost an hour talking to me about the high school part, gave me a lot of input, gave me some advice, and said for me to stay in contact with them the whole time that I was going through this process, which I did. I called them periodically, told them what was going on. In February, we found a building. I asked them to come down, see the building, and they, shared their enthusiasm and said the building was great. So here we are now in May, and in April, I got a message that said, well, prior to that, we were supposed to get a message for April for a confirmation or some affirmation, and then I got a message that said, no, it'll be in May. And then with very little contact from the charter office at that point. And so today we're not on the agenda because, as I said in the last conversation with you, we did not get the agreement for the charter renewal until 48 hours before we had to sign it. And so my board did not have the opportunity to even review the agreement. But here again, what I want to say is that I have 125 children that don't have schools because we were hoping against hope, and the charter school, as far as I'm concerned, helped us to believe that it could happen. And so now, what do I tell my 125 children?
Thank you. Marina Katz-Nelson.
Good evening. My name is Marina Katz-Nelson, and I'm a parent of 2 children at Meredith Elementary. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Overcrowding Committee of the School Advisory Council at Meredith. Members of our community have spoken at both the April and the May school board action meetings. However, quite a lot has happened since then, some good and some bad. We felt we should update the board on the most recent developments. 1 week ago, our parents had an opportunity to share their concerns with Dr. Bird, Dr. Harrison, Ms. Lynch, Ms. Floyd, and Mr. Deans at our SAC meeting. After more than 5 years of discussions about overcrowding at Meredith, it is clear that the current lottery process has failed students and families at both Meredith and Nebinger. For this fall, 37 students were waitlisted for kindergarten seats at Meredith and promised enrollment at Nebinger. Among them were 19 siblings of students enrolled at Meredith, including a set of twins. This overflow has also had a ripple effect at Nebinger, which has led to the district rescinding enrollment of 15 younger siblings of existing Nebinger students. Furthermore, 3 students from the Meredith catchment were erroneously marked as opting out of attending Nebinger and were placed at neither school. In other words, the same seats have been oversold, students from both school communities have been de-enrolled, and many families are now left in limbo. At last week's meeting, Ms. Floyd responded to several ideas regarding the creation of additional classroom space at Meredith to accommodate more students and alleviate the domino effect that our overcrowding has caused at Nebinger. These include placing a trailer or a larger modular unit on the teacher's parking lot and leasing a temporary space in the Queen Village, Bella Vista neighborhoods. The overcrowding at Meredith is not new. It is real, and it is getting worse. For the 2019-2020 school year, Meredith is slated to enroll almost 600 students in a building that is meant for 475. My son was in a first grade class of 37 last year. That's 1 out of 2 classes. In the 2020-21 year, we're expecting to have almost 100 first graders. For the first time ever, there are real concerns about whether we would be able to actually accept them all. Despite the ebb and flow of our catchment population is continuing to grow, and so is the number of families choosing a public education. We have an acute need for space before any solutions from the CSPR will be implemented. District officials have indicated that they will do additional research and get back to us after the July 4th holiday. Our communities have asked for a meeting with their SACs prior to the start of the school year and before the 2020 kindergarten enrollment begins. We thank Dr. Height and the board for their support of our problem-solving efforts. We ask for the school district to honor its commitment to families and to follow through on plans discussed at previous meetings. Plans for more temporary space for this fall that would accommodate all who have been previously promised enrollment and to be a part of the conversation planning for longer-term and sustainable.
Thank you. Kim Fuller? Is Kim Fuller here? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kim Fuller. I'm going to try to jump right in this because I don't want to be cut off. I think it's rude. My name is Kim Fuller, and I am the school community coordinator, parent liaison, and of Global Leadership Academy. I'm also the mother of a past graduate who is in her last year at Clark Atlanta University, and the grandmother of two students from scholars from Global Leadership Academy, one who now goes across the street and one who is getting ready to graduate next year that we need a high school for. To know me is to know that I'm not a fluff person. I don't do a lot of fluff. I'm sort of straightforward. So let me get right to the point. For the life of me, I can't understand why all the back and forth about a high school for GLA. This is the third time I've come before you about a high school for this school, and yet you keep turning us down. I'm not going into how wonderful a school we are. You already know that Global's wonderful. I'm not going to talk about the trips we take them on because you already know that we expose these kids to more than most schools anywhere. I'm not going to get into that. But what I am going to ask you is why. I want to know why. All of those parents back there, all of those kids back there, we want to know why. Why we keep asking you just to give us numbers for our own babies. We're not asking to take nobody else's children. We want to continue to educate the babies that we have educated since kindergarten. Now you want us to turn them loose, put them in schools that they are not ready for, expose them to stuff that they are not ready for, and they fail at what we tried to do is to keep them on the right path. Why? Why do you keep turning us down? Why will you not give us the numbers that we need? I need to know why you keep giving these corporate charter schools more and more numbers. They got buildings everywhere, but these little black charter schools, y'all give a hard way to go. Why? Why is it that we got to keep coming here and asking you to help us educate our babies? We're doing an excellent job. Why? I want to know why. I want to know why you don't want to hear from my parents that keep calling this board and signing up, and then you call them back and tell them they can't speak, that we got too many people. Why? You're violating the Sunshine Law, Dr. Height. Why? Why? Miss Wilkerson, why? Having babies, you want your babies to get the best, be the best, go to the best. If you got some children, you know what I'm talking about. These are inner city kids that we are turning their entire lives around. Why are you keep giving us problems? I want to answer. I want to know why. I want you to tell us why. Don't put us off. Talk to us. Tell us why. Thank you.
Rochelle Singleton.
Good evening. I'm Rochelle Singleton, a board member of Global Leadership Academy Charter School, and I'm asking the same question. As a board member is charged to protect, encourage, support what he or she governs. A board's responsibility is to oversee that which it governs, as well as not overlook the actions it should take. The board's responsibility is to assume that all of its parts are functioning, not just one part, but all that it oversees. A board is responsible to assure that all are treated equally and fair. So I ask, why? Why? Why do you breach your responsibility by failing to let Global Leadership Academy have the school that we desire? We've taken a dilapidated building and turned it around. A school infested with rats. Infested with rats. Global Leadership Academy Southwest is a prime example. The former Huey School failed in every conceivable way. The district failed them. Students were flunking out during their formative years. Young children's behavior patterns were indicative of those traveling breakneck speed through the pipelines to prison. And a filthy, pollutant-rich building handed to us. It has been turned around, which should have been shut down by L&I. You, the district, could not handle these children. You, the district, allowed the children to fail academically. You, the district, abandoned them to the point, once again, that it was rats. Until you handed the keys to Dr. Booker. And she turned it around as asked with her staff. And now you refuse to grant us the high school that we so deserve, the community deserves. We're good enough to clean up the mess, but we're not good enough to bring a high school that our families need. I'm not going to sit here and play the silly game by pretending with you that your actions are in the best interest of our children. When we do a roll call, we can see core memberships of this Board of Education is the same as the miserably failed SRC. This, coupled with the data that confirms you continue to award seats to Caucasian CEOs, brings us to only one conclusion. Your allegiance, your loyalty, and your interest belong to those who have political heights, high dollars in our community, while at the same token, we're the people who make their profitability possible. The only way that we are going to drain our community of this pipeline to prison is your ill direct interest. Why? Shame on you.
Diane Calton. Diane Calton. I'm going to call the next group. Please come to the front. Cecilia Thompson, please come to the table. And then Crystal Justice. Lanice Gladden, Tommy Hampton, Antonia Nelson, and Nabila Bay. I'm sorry, are you Diane Calton?
Diane
Oh, sorry, I
Clayton.
didn't see you coming up. Thank you. Pardon me? Yes.
It's on? Okay. Good evening. My name is Diane Clayton. I am the grandparent of a scholar at the Global Leadership Academy Southwest. I was excited to hear that Global Leadership Academy would be getting a high school so that our scholars would have uninterrupted continuity in their education. They'd be allowed to thrive in a loving, caring, disciplined environment from grades K to 12, where they will be prepared to be the future leaders of the world. I have been very impressed with what I've seen at Global Leadership Academy. I see core values being instilled in the scholars, such as integrity, respect for self and others. Positive ancestral history is reinforced, so our scholars, young and older, can believe they are the royal kings and queens God created them to be. Why say no to the continuation of this in a high school? Scholars look the part of young executives in their uniforms with jackets and ties. Since one of the goals is for our scholars to see more than the 5-mile radius in their neighborhoods, they are taken to different parts of the country and the world to expand their knowledge. We, the parents, rally with the school, participating in fundraising to ensure no child is left behind on these excursions. Why say no to the continuation of this in a high school? We are here this evening to find out why we are being denied a high school for our scholars. The 2 Global Leadership Academy grade schools currently in operation have been very successful. I'm sure we both agree, you, the school board, and we, the Global Leadership Academy family, that it is all about the children and them receiving a quality education. Since you can see the success of the existing Global Leadership Academy schools, why say no to the continuation of this success in a high school? We as parents are making an appeal to you this evening, asking you to say yes to our children's education in a Global Leadership Academy high school. We thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Cecilia Thompson.
Good evening. Before you turn me on, if I could briefly speak as a member of the Parent and Advisory Council to the Board of Education, I just wanted to say to Ms. Julia and Ms. Alfredo that you just did a phenomenal job with that video on the process on how somebody could, at least a student anyway, could participate in this process. It's the first since I've been participating for the last since my son was 6 years old and he's now 20, so kudos for that. And can you do an adult version? Because that was just phenomenal. Thank you. I'm just going to talk about a life skills center. I was talking to some members who are now retired educational people. Sometime, I believe they said in the 80s, there were educational centers, or they called them life skills centers specifically for individuals receiving autism, multiple disabilities, and life skills centers. They thought they were phenomenal because those centers had everything that children needed, and more importantly, the staff knew what populations they were getting and did whatever it took to make those students successful. Of course, there was a lawsuit and those centers are now gone, but these should be an option, not a mandate. So if you want your child to be included in the many options that are offered by the School District of Philadelphia, have at it. But some of our children need to learn how to make up a bed, learn how to wash dishes, learn how to wash clothes, learn how to vacuum. You can have a mock bank. I know Citizens Bank has some type of program. I don't know if they still have it, where they have mock tellers and mock ATMs. You can even have some specialized CTE programs, such as a modified automotive program, or in hospitals it's called transportation, which is really just transporting people in the wheelchairs and the patients from wherever they have to go. How are you going to pay for this? Because I sit on certain state things, I asked, and they said as long as it's part of that student program, the building trades could design and go into these empty schools. I mean, we know the schools are empty, and repurpose them to be mini apartments so these students could practice. And every year you break them down, and then the next set of building trade students come up and design something else. So we are constantly using our students to help our students. I have more details in my testimony that I will submit, excuse me, after I speak. So I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak and really just give this a consideration, because unfortunately, when you have adults who don't believe in our children, they don't believe in their success, and they're not willing to do what it takes to make our children successful. Thank you.
Ms. Thompson, may I just say that I am so thankful that you're part of the Parent Advisory Committee, and from the beginning, your voice has been really powerful, and the fact that you are so committed, even as your son has left the district, I'm just honored that you are. So,
he got one more year.
One more year, okay. I'm honored to be able to work with you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Crystal Justice.
Hello, everyone. Well, my son was attracted in the streets, and in July, So in October 26th, I started an organization called We Need You. And I was having my meetings at Sierra Recreational Center. And so we started with just the community meetings, and then we got the concerns of what the community want, and then they wanted youth meetings. So I started that. And so with the concerns of the youth and the at-risk youth that was coming, and it was like maybe 35, 40 youth would come to the meetings, and the main concern was the pool. And so the pool been closed going on 3 years, and the water's still standing there. And like, I have petitions here from over 400, maybe 500 residents of the community. I gave a copy to Jamie Blackwell. She came out May the 24th, and then May the 10th. And I also had a meeting with Parks and Rec. And on May the 24th, I gave them a copy of the petition. They said that both parties said they wasn't a part of it. It was the school district. So now I'm here to advocate for the community because like when I was younger and I went to Hamilton and the school was part of the curriculum. We swam, and also it was part of Sayre High School curriculum to have the pool. And not only for the students, but also the seniors. They used the pool for aerobics and different other things, and also they did the lifeguard training there. So I'm speaking on behalf of the community. I don't know where else to go. I'm here now to see what can I do, or can y'all help us get this pool running? And by sitting here in this meeting, I'm hearing all the dollar signs going and all this stuff, and that community is at risk for high violence, and then also I got awarded for a violence prevention grant. So it's just we need you to help us to save our children, because my son was murdered, and then his other children has been murdered, and they in their teens. So I just need to know if y'all can help us get this pool together, so we can get more activities in that rec center and just save our children.
Ms. Justice, I believe there's one other person speaking on the Sayre pool, and after that individual speaks, we'll have some responses to your question. Thanks.
Thank you. Lenise Gladden.
Hi, my name is Lenise Gladden, and I'm here to speak to you about my concern for our high schools here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm a parent of a scholar who will be entering high school in the fall of this year. My son attended a public charter school, K through 8. I say public charter school because I think sometimes people become confused that charter schools are not public schools. In 2010, before my son entered kindergarten, he was diagnosed with ADHD. He excelled academically, but struggled socially and emotionally. Aaliyah's school worked with me for an entire year during his first grade year, and at the end of that year, I found out that he had what was previously known as Asperger's syndrome, currently known as autism spectrum disorder. During that year, my son's school had him evaluated to see if he was gifted, and he was. He completed 2 grades in 1 year. Everyone in his school helped him in every way, both imaginable and unimaginable. It is because of the commitment and dedication that his school made to us that he is now functioning socially and emotionally at a level of his peers. And getting back to my concern that I have with the high schools here in Philadelphia, my son went through the process that has been implemented by you. And it was the most stressful process that I've ever experienced as a parent for my child's schooling. Having to do all of the research for the limited amount of 5 high schools that you allow us to apply for, ensuring that with the application process, he meets all of the requirements, completes interviews, projects, and multiple essays, which was extremely time consuming, is insane. Then to have to sit back and wonder if my scholar will be accepted into one of these schools is completely and totally horrible. I just want to know why. Why is it that after year, you have denied a school, Global Leadership Academy, who has turned around your underperforming schools? Why have you denied them the seats that they so rightfully deserved? Why are you not allowing our scholars who are virtuous, noble, and who uphold integrity and who embrace diversity and always do their best when faced with a challenge, the seats they deserve? Why are you not granting Global Leadership Academy the seats only?
Thank you.
Why can we not have the seats that we so rightfully deserve?
Thank you. Please call the next speaker.
Thank you. We need to move to the next speaker.
Call the next speaker.
Tommy Hampton. Is Tommy Hampton here?
You were going to, Mr. Hampton.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Tommy Hampton. Started an organization, nonprofit. We Need You. I'm gonna get back to the point about the pool. I'm here to see that what we can do to get the pool open. We have volunteers, carpenters, plumbers that are willing to help. If the Board of Education can't afford it, we willing to help. And myself, as far as even the basketball courts, you got the yard where the football field, where they walk their dogs and poop in there. So we got to get this together for the kids. I got kids coming to me. We started a chess tournament, chess club and checker club. I got kids coming to me and say, Mr. Tommy, what can we do to get this pool open? Can you help us, please? I mean, I understand that these young kids now got codes and all that, but I got kids talking to me, want to do better. Yes, it's like playing tug of war with the parents, but our meetings bring unity. Families there. I mean, you got the parents with the kids. It's a beautiful thing. The vision boards, and they talk about this pool. Now, it's unsafe the way they got it now. You go up to the second level, you can open the doors up. Where they got class, they having class with the kids, open doors up and look over the balcony. And I explained to them, why are these doors not locked? Because when these kids climb over and fall in the water, you'll never know that it was missing. So, they talking about lead. It's lead in the water. It's lead. I mean, but we got volunteers willing to clean that up. We willing to do this. The community willing to do this. The community willing to help us. They want to sign petition. They want to help. But I'm coming to the Board of Education to get this pool open for these kids. They shouldn't have to go to the beach to get some water. That's not fair. We can't do the water plugs because it's illegal. You got older people like to do the aerobics, and even the water, they got to go somewhere else, way out, 40 minutes out, just to do that. It's a community. I think that if we can get these pools open, a lot of things could happen to bring the families back together where it could save a lot of kids and bring the family ties back. That's what we're looking for right now. Yep. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And then I think Ms. Justice was also talking about this. And for your information, and I'm sure you followed this for a while because we've been trying to find a solution for what you just described and what Ms. Justice just described for a long period of time now. We have been, and naturally we have a lot of projects that we're trying to focus on that deal with lead and roofs that need to be repaired, which is the case at the Sayre Pool. In addition to the system, the whole pool system actually needs to be replaced. So we've done a great deal of work to look at what needs to happen. We've also partnered with Councilwoman Blackwell's office because she was trying to get the city to help us with the work, and quite frankly, they said it was too big of a job to do. That is now in our capital budget for our FY20 capital budget. That means that we're going to have to establish a plan to first fix the roof, because if we don't fix that, it won't matter what we do with the cleaning the lead out. It's just going to, once it rains again, it's just going to be another problem. We have to repair the roof, repair the pool system, and then get all of those systems in working order. We're in the process of analyzing to put plans together and RFPs for individuals to come in and do that work. So we can work with the community. It's going to take some time. It's not going to be done like by next week, but it will take some time. But I wanted you to know that is in the FY20 capital budget to fully repair, address that, the systems and the structure there, and replace all of that.
Okay, is there anything you can tell me that I mean, it's good right now, but anything I can assure the community? We having a meeting June 28th at 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. to 5835 Spruce Street, which is at Rec Center.
I'm going to ask Ms. Floyd to talk to you. She's over the capital program. Her name is Danielle Floyd. She's right there. She'll wave at you.
Okay, I'll let my wife talk to her.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Height, may I ask, the plans for the pool, are there plans to make it regulation so that the high schools can use it for a swim team, perhaps? Is that, I know the Sayre pool, and it's not, it wouldn't be regulation for the school district to use for those neighborhood high schools for Sayre and maybe West and the schools there. Is that in the plan?
Yeah, it's not a rebuild, so we wouldn't be reconstructing that whole thing. And if it's not regulation now, we'll probably be repairing it as it currently is sized, unless it's a much larger capital project, which would make it almost like a demolition and then rebuilding the whole thing. And so I don't think that's what the capital budget is for. I think it's just to repair the current system that's there.
Yeah. Is that something that we can consider before putting money into the pool as a district pool?
Naturally we can look at how much it costs and take a look and analyze that, but we were just trying to repair the asset that's there now,
right.
And not rebuild one that's regulation. We do have areas where children compete in swim meets and that have regulation-sized pools. This is one that they could actually practice in. That I think would be helpful if we could get it repaired.
This is one of a few pools that are not operational, right?
Yes.
So is there going to be a plan for the other ones as well?
Yes, it is. It's also a plan for some of the others that are, as long as those systems, some are surplus properties, but some are still in schools like this that have operating, what they once had operating pools that are no longer operating. We will be addressing those as well.
Our next speaker.
Antonia Nelson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antonia Nelson, and I'm here
Is your
to say-
speaker on?
Yeah, let me just lower it. I'm kind of short. Is that better? Okay. All right. I'm here to speak to you about some unfair and unjust practices that have made this school year very challenging for myself. Though I'm not sure if you will be able to support me in this matter, my hope is that you can at least point me in the right direction. So this year, while I was out on sick leave, I was notified that I must attend a meeting on March 13th with a Mr. Ronak Chokshi. Although I asked repeatedly, it was never made clear what the interview was in reference to. I was only informed that I was not the target of the investigation. During this interview, I was asked a series of questions as the interviewer took notes. His tone was condescending, and his questioning was biased and somewhat leading. I was questioned about a number of things, including my school leader, my children, my personal children, and my ability to do the job that I've been doing for 10 years. I was uncomfortable with this encounter, and I expressed that discomfort before, during, and after the meeting. At one point during the meeting, I actually walked out, feeling as though I was unable to continue. But I was instructed by my PFT representative, Wendy Coleman, that I needed to continue with the meeting, and it was not optional. I expressed to Wendy that I believe these statements were malicious lies, that were instigated by the current building rep, who was supposed to represent me, Monique Burgess. And there was no further inquiry on my concern. It was just left there. So I'm at a point now where I'm not being supported by my union, PFT. I don't feel supported by them. I've contacted them and they keep redirecting me back to the same person who I feel has not supported me. Or they redirect me to Mr. Chotsky, who is extremely rude on the phone at times. Since this meeting, despite my requests, both written and verbal, I'm still unclear on the handling of this matter. I'm consistently told not to worry about it because I am not the target of this investigation. However, I take my job very seriously. I love what I do. I wouldn't choose to do anything else, but for the first time in my life this year, I actually felt like I would walk away from teaching. I don't know what I would do, but I wouldn't do this because I don't see how systems that are put in place to help us be great, they're being abused, and I don't know where else to go, and I don't know who else to talk to. The option to write a statement was never presented to me. I'm not allowed to review the statement that's submitted on my behalf, that was written for me. I'm not allowed to know what statements have been made against me because I told I'm not a target, although I do feel like a target. I tell you this, as I sit here today and speak to you, I do fear retaliation because there are no supports in place to check and see if those you have assigned to do a job are actually doing that job. So I just want to leave you with the following questions. Are there systems that you intended to be fair and just? Are they being abused? And how do you check for this type of abuse?
Thank you.
Ms. Nelson. Ms. Nelson? Yeah, so we do have a person here that you can talk to. It's an individual who is serving as the interim chief of talent, and her name is Larissa Chambeau, and she's right over there if she waves for you. So if you could talk to her, she could give you some information about the process. You're welcome. Thank you.
Nabila Bey.
Do I push something? Okay. Good evening, Dr. Height, and to the board. I am actually a substitute for my coworker. Her name is Helen Wilkes. She's a first grade teacher at Cassidy K-8 school. She's out of the state right now, so she asked me if I would come in to speak. Cassidy School was featured on a CNN program concerning the toxins that are in the building, and that program was aired on Father's Day. So Ms. Wilkes' concerns were, or her suggestions were, that there are students who have been diagnosed with asthma due to noxious compounds that are present in the school. And she also feels that the need for students to be educated in trailers for the upcoming year, and also there are some summer programs going on in Cassidy this summer also. So she feels that the students should be educated in trailers while the almost 100-year-old building is being raised. As I serviced in the school for the 2018-2019 year, I too suffered several dizzy spells, and I heard repeated complaints and comments from parents and guardians about the physical conditions of the building. The parents and guardians often surmised that the toxins in the building contributed to the many behavioral health emergencies that happened in the school. My personal belief is that students and staff alike should be removed from the building immediately. My concerns personally, since I'm here, address the contradictions that have occurred over the span of several administrations. Basically, the tearing down of more modern schools and leaving 100-year-old schools standing. I think I heard Dr. McIver indicate that there is a contradiction between actions that happen in different administrations. So, of course, you all are not responsible for actions that other boards have, participated in. the contradiction of tearing down University City and then paying Drexel to rebuild another school building on the same grounds, that's now a necessary evil. Then there's the matter of tearing down William Penn High School, which housed a full-size swimming pool. The district is now paying LaSalle University thousands of dollars to use their pool for events. And also the district is remodeling old Ben Franklin for SLA use. My final confusion is that the Ada Lewis Middle School, which has sat vacant on Ardley Street for over a decade. I agree with several previous speakers that we must give priority to district buildings and avoid continued and future financial and ethical contradictions. Thank you.
That brings to an end our speakers. I want to thank all of our registered speakers. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to invite you to our next meeting, which will be held on July 9th at 10:30 a.m. This will be a brief meeting to address the tax revenue anticipation note known as TRAN. The board has to authorize that borrowing. That meeting will take place in the board committee room downstairs, that's Suite 101. Please visit our website for the full calendar of meetings. Our next action meeting will take place in this room on Thursday, August 15th at 5 p.m. There are things going on in Harrisburg, a lot of legislation going on that impacts public education in Philadelphia, and I guess we can have staff for the Board of Education post on the website information about what's pending. The state's going to be establishing a special commission to deal with special education funding and some other topics that have a huge impact on the kinds of decisions that we make here. And so I want to encourage people to engage around those issues. They're important, whether, they're just important for our ability to operate a coherent system of public education of Philadelphia. A lot of those decisions get made in Harrisburg, and so we'll post additional information, but encourage you to follow what's going on because it is so important. At this point, I'm going to move to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Education. We have an intermediate unit meeting that we need to have. And so is there a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Education?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I will now convene the meeting of the intermediate unit. Ms. Ralph, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Danzy?
Present.
Ms. Ahaya Hinton and Ms. Fix Lopez are not here this evening. Mr. Huang?
Present.
Dr. McColgan?
Present.
Dr. McGinley?
Present.
Dr. McIver?
Present.
Vice President Walker?
Present.
President Wilkerson?
Present.
Thank you.
Board members, before we proceed, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 30th intermediate unit meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Those opposed? Thank you. The intermediate unit minutes are approved. We have 3 items on the intermediate unit agenda. May I have a motion and a second to consider intermediate unit items 1 through 3?
So moved.
Is there
Second.
a second? Is there any discussion on any of these items? Any questions? Ms. Rout, please call the roll.
Thank you. Ms. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Huang?
Yes to all.
Dr. McColgan?
Yes.
Dr. McGinley?
Yes.
Dr. McIver?
Yes.
Vice President Walker?
Yes.
President Wilkerson?
Yes.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of our meeting of the intermediate unit. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. We wish you a happy and healthy summer, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, so you